I do want to follow up on my good colleague, Congressman Connolly, about corruption in this process. The comment period for the proposed payday rule repeal ended yesterday. So I want to ask you about CFPB's process for filtering the comments it has received. Reports show that CFPB received duplicates of fake comments opposing the original 2017 payday rule at alarming rate. Out of 1.4 million comments CFPB received, it only deemed around about 200,000 to be so-called unique. Even this, quote, unique batch was plagued with fake duplicative comments. According to a Wall Street Journal survey, 40% of the respondents it contacted claimed they had not submitted the comments made in their name. In one instance, a woman who took out $323 payday loan and ended up owing more than $8,000 had a fraudulent payday, get this, comment submitted in her name, which stated, she said, quote, her only good option for borrowing money, so I hope these rules don't happen. You would agree this seems like highly unlikely comment from someone who who had a loan ballooned nearly 25 times over, correct?
Yes, knowing only those facts about that hypothetical consumer, yes.
Unfortunately, this story is not atypical. CFPB's own research supports that 80% of the payday loan borrowers' debts were rolled over or reborrowed within 30 days, ultimately costing borrowers much more than they anticipated. Even more troubling is that the industry may be playing a significant role in submitting fake and even coerced comments. Reports show that lenders may have been asking borrowers to submit pro-industry comments while they are applying for their loans, Mr. Paul. Mr. Paul, would you agree that payday lenders asking for vulnerable borrowers to submit comments while applying for a loan is at best suggestive and at worst coercive?
I think it's hard for me to speak to why consumers send in the comments they do. As you noted, we got 1.4 million comments last time. 1.4 million comments, there's probably a story behind each of them. What we try to do is try to read as many of them as we can to understand what the public thinks, recognizing that the problems you've identified, I think, are a big challenge to our agencies and other agencies.
I do hope you take this very seriously, that they're asking our residents to submit comments while applying for a loan. So CFPB spokesperson, former director, I'm going to get this right now, Mulvaney, was, quote, concerned about any inauthentic data that comes to the Bureau and stated that, quote, we intend to look into this matter further. Mr. Paul, would you agree that any role industry played in submitting fake or coerced comments is worthy of additional scrutiny and could justify excluding such comments from consideration?
One of the things I've seen this week is complaints from some groups that consumer advocates are sending problematic comments to us. I've also heard complaints that industry is sending problematic comments to us. I think we will do our best to try to figure out which are legitimate comments.
So what has the CFPB done to protect the integrity of the rulemaking process so far?
Well, this particular rulemaking process, the comment period ended yesterday, so we're just starting to look at the comments. One of the things that we have done in the past is try to figure out which are in fact duplicates. But one thing I think looking at numbers of comments in some ways misses the point. To go back to some of the earlier discussion, we're really looking at the quality of information that goes to the most relevant issues in the record. And so it really isn't about numbers. I know that that's what many people view the public comment process.
No, I agree. It has to be both. Is it a federal crime to intentionally make? It is a federal crime to intentionally make false or fraudulent statements to a government agency. However, the Wall Street Journal reports that payday lending industry hired a firm called Issue Hound to create websites to gather rule comments. An alarming number of fake comments can be traced back to the Issue Hound platform used by payday groups. Mr. Paul, our democracy and our voice of the American people are undermined when abuses of this nature go unchecked. Can you agree today to ensure fake comments are filtered and that when industry players abuses the comment process, will be held accountable?
I think we will do our best not to consider comments that are inappropriate, and I think anyone who submits comments that are problematic, it warrants taking a look to see what remedies may be appropriate for that.
Thank you. I do look forward to the Bureau making meaningful and swift action to ensure this process is not corrupted. Thank you so much, and I yield the rest of my time, Chairman.